Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. So good to see everybody. It's so good to have you here. As you all know, the man of the hour has been one and only Mr. Katt Williams. And Katt Williams, not only did he create a complete stink storm with his latest interview with Shannon Sharpe, but he also created a lot of conversation starters where there's just so much to unpack here in terms of things that he said, in terms of deciding like how much do we believe him? And so today we're going to be talking about Katt Williams as well as some of the responses from Kevin Hart, Ricky Smiley, and others. And the person I really knew to go to on this is Tiara KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood, who is very familiar with the entertainment industry. Tiara, how are you doing today, girl?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I saw this interview and I'm gonna tell you, Alicia has been like flipping out over it. Like she saw it this morning. She's like, Boyce, you've got to see this, Boyce. You got to see this, Boyce. And there's just so much there. And in fact, I bought some clips and I'm thinking it's almost so much that you don't know where to start.
You don't know where to start. It's a lot going on.
Yeah. I mean, and it's almost like he came in. You know, he reminded me of.
Huh.
He reminded me of the Joker in Batman. You know, like the
Okay.
Joker just. You know, they said the Joker just wants. Some people just want to see the world burn, and I felt like Katt, just had a lot of bones to pick,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to tell you some bones need picking, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to be one to sit here and say he was right or wrong. I think that that's a very complex statement, and I'm going to let the audience kind of guide us on this conversation. But first off, I want to ask everybody: can you give me a yes if you can hear us? Give me a quick yes to let me know you can hear me. Okay. Also, hit the thumbs up button, and also don't forget this podcast is on Spotify. If you look up Boyce Watkins on Spotify and Apple, and find the Dr. Boyce breakdown, you can find us on Spotify. All right, so let's let's kind of start. I mean, let's just start where we're gonna start. Okay, so let's start with Kevin Hart. Okay, so Katt Williams pretty much said that Kevin Hart is an industry plant. He makes the argument that Kevin Hart is a guy that came out of nowhere, that he was like handed to us as this tiny little gift from white people, kind of came out of nowhere, had not cut his teeth in comedy. What do you think about that? As a person who lives in LA, you've been in the LA scene for a long time. What do you think Katt was trying to say when he said
I don't know. I don't know.
that?
I don't know, but what I'll say is that I did an interview years ago with Kevin Hart's ex-wife. Um and she talked about Kevin being on the road and her being at home a lot and kind of like some of the things or struggles they had in their relationship when she was younger and him trying to get into comedy. So I know for sure, just because we had me and Tori had a whole conversation about it, that probably happened. So I don't know. Katt may know more than I do, but
So when you say that probably happened, are you talking about like he's probably an industry plant? Like
no,
somebody
I'm saying
planted
that
him?
he
Like
probably he
what does
probably
that mean? Like when somebody's called an industry plant, like that's the first thing. Like just as somebody who's been in LA, been in Hollywood for a long time, what I think industry plant, I'm thinking like somebody that just came out of nowhere, where some executive, somebody that's on the higher up, just said, we're gonna move this person to the front of the line, right? We're gonna find this person and we're gonna make them famous. I think that's completely plausible. It's
okay.
completely plausible. And the reason, and here's the thing, I can say that it's plausible without necessarily indicting Kevin the way Katt would. It's plausible because what people don't understand is that Hollywood is a business.
Hmm.
Entertainment is a business. And we get in this faulty thinking and believing that it's all about who's the most talented. And
Right.
you know, also, and we don't understand. There's 1,000 Beyoncés out there. There's 1,000 beautiful women that can sing and dance. They're everywhere. If you don't have somebody that controls the money, one of the economic gods, this is where I step in. It's always an economic conversation, everybody. I hope everybody understands this, right? The economic gods, they decide who the next star is going to be. They decide who's going to get the exposure, right? So when Katt calls Kevin an industry plant, I'm thinking that what he's kind of saying is Kevin cheated because somebody with money backed him. What's wrong with that? Why is this not par for the course?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's what you want. You want somebody to come along and see that you're talented. And, life in Hollywood is all about timing. So if you're able to get to the front of the line without having to stand in line, it's better. But the way I took it was that he meant like sometimes on the internet there's these bots. They used to say there was these conservative bots that they used to intentionally have like say stuff, like go on like black people threads and say negative things about other people to just like start fires in the thread about black people and all of that. I thought that way he said an industry plant, I thought he meant something like that.
Oh, like a bot, like a Russian bot type of thing?
Well, not a Russian bot, but like somebody that's meant to be there to it's like a person that is put like a spy, I don't know what he was talking
about. Like somebody who's like snitching, or maybe, because I'm gonna tell you who was.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you who was a plant, in my opinion. Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. I think Epstein was a plant by Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency, and I believe that Epstein's job was to go find out what you like and give it to you, and then document that and blackmail you. I think that makes logical sense to me. I think that's what the whole Epstein list is about. That's why he wanted to hang out with the rich and famous, and everybody just trusted him because he was a billionaire, because everybody wants to be close to people with money. There's that word money again. I bring that up just so in case people wonder why I'm talking about the celebrity stuff. It's because it's all driven by the money. Everything's driven by the money. So when I look at Kevin Hart, I'm gonna tell you, I don't dislike Kevin Hart as much as Katt Williams does. I don't think I have to be honest and say I don't know how funny Kevin Hart is. He's not the funniest comedian for me. But one thing I do like about Kevin is, if you saw Kevin's interview on The Breakfast Club, Kevin made an interesting counterpoint where Kevin said, "You were the guy." He said, "You had the opportunity. You could have elevated a lot of people, and you didn't." He said, "You weren't showing up to the meetings. You weren't showing up to the, and now I know people may not want to hear this because we saw Katt's interview and he did such a great job. It's easy to just feel like, okay, I'm Team Katt all the way, Team Katt. I'm not Team Katt. I'm Team Truth. And I'm gonna tell you, you remember, before you believe everything Katt said, just understand that he's giving one perspective, one point of view. Right. And also, he's also the same guy who said he reads 3,000 books a year. He can run 4.1 seconds in the 40-yard dash. By the way, the NFL record, the fastest NFL player in history, John Ross, ran it in 4.22 seconds. So not only is he a great comedian, but he reads 3,000 books a year, and he's faster than any player in the history of the NFL. Oh, and he also got accepted to college at the age of 7. Now, maybe he was exaggerating. Maybe he was being funny. I personally think you could have thrown that disclaimer in there. Like, by the way, I'm just being a comedian. I'm just being funny right now. But no, he said it like he was really giving some facts about himself. I'm like, bro, come on now. I run track. That's why Shannon, if you remember, if you go back and watch that interview, when he said I could run he said I'm 100 years old, but I can run a 4.1 second in the 40-yard dash right now. Shannon Sharpe was like, what? Like, Shannon backed up. Why did he back up? He backed up because Shannon is a football player. Shannon himself don't run the 40-yard dash that fast. Shannon probably ran at best at his peak. He probably ran a 4.4. So you telling me you faster? So my point is to say, I'm not saying Katt's lying though. Here's the thing. Let's go to that other side of it. Let's talk about the things I like about the interview. Okay. I love the idea of pulling the veil off the Wizard of Oz of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right. Like let's give Katt his flowers for that. Let's give him his flowers for the fact that he went in there. He's like this guy that just went in and had full access and came out and is telling everybody secrets.
Yeah.
Right? And I love that. I think it's so much fun to watch, right? He is the male version of what Jaguar Wright is in hip hop right now. Just that person that they trusted, they led into the little circles, let them into the secret meetings, and now they're just kind of telling everything. And some of that isn't far-fetched. If you look, did you see actually you talk for a second. I'm gonna pull up an image on my Instagram that I put up where I literally gathered a collage of all the black men I could think of in Hollywood who have dressed like women.
Oh
And
yeah.
I want to get your take on that, Tiara. Do you think that there's like an agenda there? Like, is it just a coincidence that it seems like there's so many successful comedians who dress like women? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I'm just under the impression that just in general, I think there are trends, and for whatever reason, that seems to be a trend here that, feels like an initiation, or black actors have to do, or, actors feel like they have to do it to be funny or to cross over, or I'm not really sure where it came from or why we need to do it, but I definitely think it's a thing. And just in general, black men have kind of all, well, I'm not gonna say always, but when I look at the internet, I just see a lot of black men like mocking black women, and like the mamas of their house, like just in a way it's supposed to be celebrating, but when you're putting it in front of people that are not laughing, you know with you, they're laughing at you, it kind of makes it a difference, right? You know what I mean? So I do think it's a bit of initiation. It seems like everybody does it because it's one of those things in Hollywood that takes you to the next level, I guess.
Well, it's coonery and buffoonery, in my opinion. What here's a little factoid that will hopefully help everybody understand why it honestly kind of pisses me off when I see all these comedians dressing like women. Um, I want you to take a moment and let's do like a little reflection. Every morning we've been doing financial reflections to understand our economics. By the way, drboyceelevate.com is the URL you can go to if you want to join us. drboyceelevate.com. But I want you to do a reflection, a cultural reflection. And I want you to really, for a moment, I want us to take stock in how many black men try to count how many black men you've seen as comedians who dress like women. Now, on this image, we have a few. And one of these guys I know, and I like him. And two of them I've met. We got Juwana Man up there. I met him, Miguel Nunez. You and I think, did you hang out with us?
Yeah,
that's right. We did. That's right. We work with Miguel. That's right. Kevin Hart. You got Medea, who I met Tyler Perry once. I didn't meet Medea, but I met Tyler Perry. You got Eddie Murphy. You got Martin Lawrence here. And I want y'all to, in the chat, name any names that I forgot to mention. We got Ricky Smiley here and Terry Crews. Now, give me some more names in the chat. Now, somebody said Flip Wilson. Now, that's a long time ago, though. Flip been gone. So let's not dig Flip up from the grave. But there's quite a few right now. Here's what I want you to do in this reflection, everybody. I want you to try to name as many white male actors. Now, mind you, there's like probably 10 times more white male actors in Hollywood than there are black male. At least 10 times more, maybe 20 times more. And I want you to try to name as many white male actors that you could think of who have dressed as a woman in the last decade. Don't go back to Tootsie and Mrs. Doubtfire. Don't do that. I want you to go back in the last 12 years or go back to 2008 and try to name all the white males you've seen do that. See, somebody mentioned Robin Williams, Dr. Conrad Bingham. He's mentioning Kurt Russell. See, but those are old references. Those are old movies. I'm talking about movies that were made in 2012, 2014, 2015. You can't. But look, with black men, this ain't even half. We didn't mention Ving Rhames. We didn't throw in Chris Tucker. We didn't throw in Wesley Snipes. We didn't throw in Chris Rock, Jamie Foxx. I mean, the list is so long for black men. But with white men, the list is very short. Isn't that surprising? You would expect that if the list for black men is, say, 15 or whatever, the list for white men would be like 150. Am I right or am I right? Because there's 10 times more white males in Hollywood than black men. So why wouldn't there be just as many, if not more, white men dressed as women in the last 15 years as black men? You can't even match the number. You can't even find the exact. If I gave everybody in this chat $100,000 to name 14 white men in Hollywood, famous white men in Hollywood that are dressed as women, you would not be able to do it. if that ain't an agenda right in front of your eyes, that makes me turn into Katt Williams. I'm gonna start talking like Katt. I'm gonna start holding my cup and talking like this and doing my Katt Williams imitation because I think I really picked something out that shows I'm just as smart as the comedians. What do you think, Tiara?
All right. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I quit.
I can see. No, for sure. I can see that. That's so funny. I think you should talk like that for the rest of the time.
That'd be my Katt Williams invitation. You think I'm missing my calling? Well, you know, I can really do that all night because there's so much stuff to talk about. So you just go ahead and you just say what you got to say because I'm gonna say a whole lot more before we done.
I don't have anything to say, Cat Boys. I don't have anything to
say. but seriously though, so that's where, and this is the thing. This is where you know, I always end up confusing people because I'm not a bandwagon guy. I'm not going to jump on something just because everybody jumps on it. But that don't mean I'm not understanding the nature of the bandwagon. I think that a lot of people celebrated Katt's interview because they were happy to see, you know, a comedian get on there and tell the truth. Now, what do you think Shannon Sharpe was thinking? Because I mean, I don't know. I wonder if this is going to hurt Shannon because I bet you he got a bunch of calls from people that were like, "Hey, man, how could you do this? Like, why would you bring him on right after us?" Because remember, he sat there with Steve Harvey, he sat there with Ricky Smiley, and I think Cedric the Entertainer, and all these other guys. And then you bring in this other person that's really just kind of crapping on all these people. I wonder how that's going to play out for Shannon. What do you think?
Well, I don't think it was Shannon's fault. You could see that Shannon was completely blindsided, and even during it, he was trying to say, "Well, yeah, man, come on, let's just you know, like let's just take the subject, you know."
Come on, Katt. Come on, Katt. Now you know that. That can't be true, Katt.
Katt, you can't do that, man. He was trying to reel him in. He kept trying to reel. So, how'd you grow up? Like he was trying to. But he just couldn't handle Katt Williams. I mean, Katt literally, he was like, "Yeah, how you doing, Katt?" He was like, Steve Harvey wears a wig. Like he just came out fighting. Like, how do you as a person even try to, you're like, okay, this is where we going. But I don't think it'll be it'll look bad on him because I can really tell he thought it was gonna be a regular interview.
Well, you know what? I feel like I definitely know it helps his platform, right? I mean, they probably easily cleared 10 million views on that. I know in the main interview that was 5 or 6 million, and then they had all these clips circulating. I mean, I think this was massive for their channel, and I like it because it speaks. It's a big win for independent Black-owned media. You know, like I think that's where I would relate to a guy like Shannon Sharpe. I saw him doing his thing on ESPN, and then he creates this Club Shay Shay thing. I'm all for any platforms where Black people are the actual owners of that space. And I believe Shannon owns most of what he's doing. I think that's the play. That's the win, right? And so I'm all for that, and I cheer for that. And this actually speaks to the challenge I would give to Katt. I think that the word accountability, people often forget that the word accountability has to go in two directions. For it to really work, it's got to go both directions. So when you're laying all this accountability at the feet of all these individuals that have that sort of cheated, you know, to get to the top and stuff like that. Well, I give some accountability to Katt in terms of talking about, like, I remember he said something about Tyler Perry and how there was, you know, Tyler Perry. I think this is an accurate statement. You really don't see a lot of people coming out of Tyler Perry studios that are nearly as powerful, nearly as famous, nearly as successful as Tyler Perry. It's not like he really puts anybody on at that level. Like I think he remember when he said most actors in Tyler Perry movies they go to the mall and don't even need security. Like, remember that? And he was, you know, and he's right. You know, he's right that they don't even, you know, that nobody knows who these people are. Right. And that's, I think, because Tyler's got that diva in him where he wants all the attention. Like he had that epic picture where he was in his writer's room and there was nobody in there but him. But you're doing a show that's got like 8 Black female characters. I'm sorry, if I'm a woman, that pisses me off. I don't know. If I'm a woman, I'd be mad as hell that there are men out here imitating women, and they'd rather hear from a man imitating a woman than to hear from an actual woman. Does that not piss you? How does that make you feel?
You know, I think I saw you know, I always talk about this post that I saw of Tyler Perry saying like he wrote like 75 episodes in a week, and I was like, yep, like I was like, as a writer, right, who has written and sold screenplays, I just, I mean, every to each his own, but I think you can see it in the work.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting, right? It's worked for him, I guess, in terms of making money. Now, here's the thing, right? So so Katt calls out Tyler Perry for not putting anybody on, but Kevin Hart called out Katt Williams for not putting anybody on. He said, who are you really putting out there? Now, here's the thing, though. What I don't like about all this back and forth, and I get it, right? It's competition, who's the king of comedy and who's the this and that. Um, I see that really as a big fight over the white man scraps. That's what I see. I see a bunch of black men fighting to compete to say, I have more Netflix specials than you. I have more TV shows than you. I did a movie and you didn't. All that's really saying is Massa likes me better than Massa likes you. Massa gave me a movie. Massa gave me a net because black people ain't creating Netflix specials. We're not the ones creating these films and all this, right? So I think that the best thing Katt can do, if to really be about it, to use Master P language, is lend your platform, lend your name, lend your credibility to the development and the creation of spaces that can distribute black content from talented black people, right? We've got thousands of great writers, directors, producers, actors, and actresses out here. We've got all these celebrities that have 10, 20, 30 million Instagram followers, Twitter followers, Facebook followers. All that's a distribution network. That's no different from what Paramount has, no different from what Lionsgate has, etc. Why not have spaces where we say, okay, here's the next big black movie that's being, and instead of releasing it in movie theaters, we don't own the movie theaters, but we do have we do have access to this thing called the internet, which is where Netflix makes their billions for the most part. They don't make their money in movie theaters; they make their money by having distribution on the internet. And so here's the next big black movie, and because we've got 10 celebrities who all of whom have an average of 10 million Instagram followers, they're all going to release this content in that distribution network. And the community, everybody pays $3, $5 to watch the movie. And next thing you know, each of these movies is making 30, $40 million a piece. Right. I like it's a really kind of straightforward. And I think that with Katt sort of focusing on the entertainment side, what this really said to me, Tiara, I'd like to get your take on this, is that it seems that in entertainment, you have people that are the purists who just are like I was trained at Juilliard, I worked on Broadway, I know what it takes to be expert in my craft. And then you have people that are like, look, I'm trying to get to this money. I'll play any part, do whatever I got to do, just get down with the studios, and I'm successful because my movie made $100 million, even if it was a piece of shit, right? So it seems like there's a divide there, and I got a sense that from a comedic standpoint, there are very few comedians that are purer to their craft than Katt Williams. He talked about doing a 100-city tour and how much work it takes to craft a joke and everything else, and it was really a great interview in terms of explaining the science of comedy, because a lot of people don't know all that. They're like, oh, you just made me laugh, but they don't know how much work it takes to kind of put up. So in that regard, I kind of respected Katt as an artist, kind of defending the the credibility of the art form. What do you think?
Yeah, there's a few people that I know, comedians, that have been part of that Katt Williams troupe, and I know for sure that he said in his interview that he takes comedians that are new and they're that are coming out or that are up and coming. He takes them out on the road. He takes them out on tour. So I know a few of them I've seen post today and say like, listen, when I needed whatever I needed, Katt came through for me. Katt came through and paid for, just all kind of things for their family and people's funeral, so, they, obviously they weren't speaking against other comedians. They were just saying that they know that Katt had been there for them. So I'll say that. You know, anything that you guys see on television is a process, right? Regardless of even the crappiest movies take a million hours to make. Like, everything here is a process and everybody is working hard and all of the things. So I won't take that away from anybody. Even, I said what I said about Tyler Perry, but either way, it takes a lot of time to do all of these things. So I think, I'm not sure what the question was at this point, but I'd celebrate I celebrate that. I celebrate them all for getting on. You know what I mean? Like I celebrate. It takes a lot of energy to make it in this town in any kind of way. So in whatever way someone has gotten to the top, I support that. I don't necessarily always support the delivery, but it is very hard to make your way around here.
Okay. By the way, everybody, you're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm speaking with Tiara, KJ Williams, and we're talking about this Katt Williams interview with, I keep wanting to say Stephen A. Smith, but that's not who he was talking to. He's talking to Shannon Sharpe. And this interview has been kind of the talk of the whole internet, so I thought it would be worth covering today. And Tiara is very experienced in Hollywood, and so her insights are incredibly valuable, I think, as we kind of try to understand what was being said here. If y'all could do us a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Also, Tiara, your website is realvirtual.net, right? REEL, realvirtual.net.
Correct.
And, okay, and what I'm going to do is at some point I'm going to put this link up so everybody can sort of take a look at your business and support your Black-owned business. Now let's jump into this one aspect that was brought up during the Katt Williams interview about this guy named Jonathan Majors, and Katt made a really interesting statement about Jonathan Majors. I'm going to read this. Let me see here. Let me find his first. He made two statements about Jonathan Majors. So let me see if I can make sure I get the right one on the screen. Okay, so here he talks about Jonathan Majors and Megan Good kind of in the same breath. And he says, hey, you saw that Black woman come get his charge cut in half. Thank you, Megan Good. God bless you for coming to save that slave. If he had to be there by himself, he was getting all for guilty, 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 guilty. She came in there. It was just so beautiful. They had to knock half of it off. Bless his heart. So then he says about Jonathan Majors, he says, First of all, I'm trying to do my Katt Williams voice. First of all, they went around the world for 2 years straight telling any woman that would listen that this was a good-looking Negro. Since when? When did y'all start liking a big nose? When did y'all like a little head and a big jaw? When? Since when? That looked like my daddy. When you start liking my daddy, you like Black people's features like that? If this ugly ass nigga is good looking, then all niggas is good looking. So this is, what do y'all think? Is my Katt Williams invitation? Should I take it on the road? What, or is Tiara the only one? Who,
way funnier for sure.
You like it works? Okay, man. I didn't know I had a secret talent. I got to work on that. I got to learn how to set my jokes up. Okay, so Jonathan Majors. All right, so let's let's get with Jonathan Majors here then. Okay, so Katt seemed to feel, and this is where I rocked with what he said. He's 100% on point. I don't understand Jonathan Majors. I don't understand all of that. If you want my full assessment of Majors, here's what I see from my spidey senses. He was a guy that has a little bit of a past. I believed all the actors from Yale who were coming out and saying, he's had some issues with women in the past. It sounds to me like he might have had some stuff that he probably doesn't want everybody to know about. So he comes out, he's doing really well. He's on top of the world. I feel like he made a bad choice in women because I don't think she respected the gravity of what he was trying to protect. I don't think that he was abusing her in a way where her life was really in jeopardy or anything like that. Because you don't chase somebody that's beating your ass. Right? The way she chased him for several blocks, if somebody's beating your ass, I mean, really hurting you, like you really think you might die that day, and they start running away, you don't run behind them. That doesn't even make any sense, right? So I think John got a raw deal. I really do. But then again, that's life. That's the game he's playing. That's the world he lives in. And so, so now he's in trouble. He knows what he's about to lose. He was bringing Megan Good with him to court. And I'm sitting there thinking, you should probably have Megan Good on your arm before the incident took place. Because it sounds like if Megan will protect you when you are bloody and burning, she definitely would have protected you when you were the biggest star in Hollywood. So I just really don't understand. I think that it's unstrategic, but then again, maybe it's just immature. He's younger than me, so maybe these are insights I wouldn't have had it at his age. But that's what I saw. I just kind of felt like he took an unnecessary risk, and now he's going to lose probably a couple $100 million when it's all said and done. What are your thoughts?
You know, just living in Hollywood and seeing the men do what they do, it is very normal for that to, to see a black man with a white woman on his arm. That's very normal.
How
So,
does that feel as a black woman? Like when you see all these men just, I mean, I feel like I see it as a rejection. Like how does that, like, come on, be honest with me. How does that make you feel?
not rejected. I feel like as a black woman, if I see a man, so for instance, I live in the valley, right? So that means that I'm not like near Inglewood. I'm over where like there's, I'm just in the valley. So I might be in a store and I see a black man and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Just because, I grew up in the South. How you doing? And he like will completely walk by me. And then when I see him, come around the block, he come around the aisle with Becky or Selena, I'll be like, oh, got it. Okay, got it. I'm used to it now because I've been in LA for so long, but I just, it doesn't make me feel rejected.
Why do they do that? What's wrong with the Negroes in Hollywood? Like, what did they poison them all? Did they all get brainwashed at the same time? Like, what? I just don't get it. Like, I understand if you if you date whoever you want, but this sort of blanket rejection of black women, it just doesn't. I don't understand the origin of it, but yeah, so he said that about Jonathan Majors. Let's move on. So he and I agree with that assessment. So what I'm gonna do is play a clip. I don't even know what's on this clip, but I'm gonna play a clip from the Katt Williams interview, and then I'd like to get your take on it. So here we go. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear this clip, everybody, and please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. Here it goes now.
If they give me the job, I make it my job that this character here has to be as big as this whole project. So if you don't even see the movie School Dance, I want you to remember, whose goddamn white baby is this? And the only way that I can guarantee that you will remember my scene if you didn't remember a whole movie is if I make sure that my scenes are that good. Because that's what I watched. I watched great actors.
Okay. So what do you think there as an actress yourself? And you're a lot of people don't even know that you are an excellent comedic actress. When you did that show, Your Real World, that was one of my favorite shows. Mm-hmm. What do you see when you hear Katt describe his craft in that way?
Yeah, I agree. I think everyone wants that scene that is remembered or that goes viral or that people call back to and quote and be like, man, that is so good, or that is so funny, or it's one of the most memorable moments in the movies. Yeah, you want that. Absolutely. I think that's every artist, every actor's dream. For sure.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm going to play another clip here, and I want to get your take on this. Here we go.
There are 30 comedians on this cast. They're all magnificent. This is the holy grail of the situation. So yeah, I was able to make sure that, because it wasn't just my first movie, it was K.D. Albert's first movie, it was Terry Crew's first movie.
Absolutely.
I was the leader of this group, which meant that we didn't do their rehearsals, they did rehearsal, we did our own rehearsals daily to make sure that we were at the level of professional actors, which is what made it so egregious, that guy. Saying, you were supposed to what?
Katt, he did have a good part in the movie, man. The Santa Claus was funny, man.
The dude said the entire time we were filming, I can't play this role. They got a bandana over my nose and my mouth. My family not even gonna know who this is. So yeah, tell your story.
Terry Crews also said that you guys had a lot of conversation, that this was your opportunity and you needed to seize this moment.
Terry had the benefit of having been in some very high-profile situations already and took L's. Like, he had been in the league. You know what I mean? He had done pro wrestling. He had done a lot of things. He had been televised and some things that hadn't worked.
Right.
And this was just fortuitous for him. And now you know what nobody has ever said in the whole industry in 20 years about, you know, the whole Money Mike not getting raped in the bathroom.
Right.
So I understood going in that there's no reason. I lost for a 5-year period, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk, that all I had said was, just, can we take some of this step and fetch it shit out? And then I can do it. Like, it don't need to be overtly homosexual, because I'm not homosexual, right? It doesn't need that to be funny, right? And me saying that and them going, oh yeah, no problem. And then going to give it to this other guy and having him do it just like it was and acting like I'm a bad person because I keep standing on my standard.
All right. So, Tiara, is there a gay agenda in Hollywood, in your opinion?
I think that there is a lot of story time. So I think that there are things that are happening and people want to jump on a bandwagon. So there's a story. I wrote a screenplay, right? And they brought in a really powerful director who was like, yeah, I just think maybe we should, you know, add a gay character to it. And I was like, okay. He said, yeah, have you like seen Euphoria? You know, like maybe we can add some drugs. So I think that a lot of, and this is a big director. It's not like us, you know, somebody that hasn't been in the industry for a long time. So I think that sometimes there are directors looking around and people in the industry looking around and looking and seeing what's trending and what's popular, and without thinking about it, saying like, maybe we should add a little bit of that to appeal to the kids. That was his whole thing. Like, maybe we should add a little bit of Euphoria to it so we can appeal to the kids. We can appeal to the children. So I don't know, there's the openness that the kids have that I think that Hollywood wants to meet. So I don't, I'll say, I think there's a bit of an agenda, but I also think that in some spaces it's not, I think people are just thinking like, how do we relate this to everybody? How do we make this all inclusive? So, you know, I think all inclusive and inclusivity is a really big thing here, and making sure everyone feels like they're a part and their stories are being told is really big. So, so there is an agenda in the sense where they want to make sure that everybody's voices are heard.
Okay. Well, just so you know, there are people in the chat that think you're not keeping it real. They think you're being, just so you know, the internet has a truth serum attached to it. So if they feel like you're being like political or trying to be careful not to step on toes, they're gonna call it out.
Well, I don't mind that, but I will say, for me, I mean, obviously I said that I felt like there was an agenda, but I think under that is a feeling like, you know, people aren't necessarily conscious of it anymore, instead of just trying to be inclusive and have the next hit so they can have another hit. I just think that people are I think people in the industry are trying to include everyone so they can keep working. That's what I think. There's no, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to like I'm not saying names, no, but I'm just saying, I think people want to stay working.
Well, I'm going to say this. I think that there is a gay agenda in the sense that Hollywood is probably disproportionately gay. I think that there is a history of alternative lifestyles as it pertains to drugs and sex, right?
For sure.
And I think that they're connected. And so I would say that it's one thing to try to be inclusive. It's one thing to say, okay, we don't want anybody to feel left out. Like, I do that. I don't exclude people from the LGBT community from what we do. I've never said, well, this is the all black national convention as long as you're straight. No, I don't care. I mean, there's a lot of people from that community that work with us and do things, but that's very different from kind of making that kind of the dominant thing, or saying, okay, you know, we're going to deliberately inject lifestyles, ideas, or perspectives that that are not reflective of the population that's watching this movie. I think that that's where the whole conservative backlash came from. Is they said, why are you constantly pushing stuff like this in our face? We know that they're gay people, we know they're trans people, we know all that stuff. But
Yeah.
when you're like throwing it out there where every single thing, so the population, the real population might be let's say here, but in the movies it's like that,
Yeah.
and it's like like or like my kid is going to school and they're coming back with all these ideas and perspectives that they're probably not going to confront. So I kind of feel like when I heard Katt talking, like when he, I got what he was saying about this idea of a black man being raped in a movie. Like I feel like somebody really gets off on it. I think there are people, executives, who get off on seeing big, strong, muscular black men dressed as women. I think
For
that
sure.
makes them horny. Like I think that really is a sexual turn on for them. That's why you see an overabundance of black men dressed as women, because it's not just emasculating so you can control them, but it's also stimulating, because we're a bunch of sex addicts with money and power. So we're gonna pretty much make Hollywood into whatever we want it to be. So whatever they were doing with the women, they're gonna do that with the black men too, because it's kind of like all the whole thing of like sort of abusing and taking advantage of oppressed people.
But here's the thing: what if we're the ones writing it, right? What if we're the ones writing the scenes, right? Because the director that I'm talking about was black, and when we went to Universal, they were like, "No, let's not do that. Let's not make them gay. Let's not have any gay characters actually, and just let's see." So like that's what I'm saying. I don't know if I feel like even if it's subconscious, there's a part of us here in Hollywood that are like, well, let's do what everybody's doing and have gay characters. So I guess I'm not trying to be politically correct, but I'm just saying sometimes I know for me in that situation, Universal said no, but the black director who was at a high level was like, we should do this, But what if we're the ones writing it? We're the ones writing it. You
That's
know what
so
I mean?
true.
We don't have to write
Well,
black rape.
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing: we're the ones writing it, but who pays the writers? Remember this is on this platform we always talk about the economics. The person who writes the check has the power. The celebrity doesn't have the power. The celebrity, you can replace a celebrity with enough money. You just go hire another talented person to take their position, right? So my point is to say that maybe the reason that you have black writers that incorporate this stuff in there is because they're trying to please their boss. They're thinking, if I'm going to sell this script, I need to give these corporations what they're looking for. And you are right, though, right? Like sometimes we get so caught up in slave mode. Our Stockholm syndrome becomes so great that we will submit ourselves to do things that they didn't even ask us to do.
And that's
like
my
they
point.
don't. Go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
No, I was about to say yes, and that's my point. Like on top of that, there is a moment where the studios give you notes. They give you notes. They say, "Hey, we like this. We don't like this. What do you think of this? Or do you like that?" Or I realized that I had more input than I thought. Because when I came back and said, "I'm sorry, y'all, I can't write it. My daughter, I happen to have a daughter who is asking a lot of questions right now, who is in the 7th grade, and it's gonna be a no for me, right? Like this is really important." And you know what they said? Actually, that's great because we didn't want that anyway. I said, great. And then we went back to writing the story. So in those moments, I feel like we have more power than we think. They come to us for us to tell the stories. But like you said, we kind of get up in like, oh, this will be funny for us to do these like self-deprecating things and making us look crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Like we walk right in and bend over, and they didn't even ask us to bend over. What are you doing? Like, oh, well, I thought you wanted something. I thought you wanted something good this morning, massa. Like that's what we do. We will do that. We literally will be like we will put ourselves. We will walk straight to the back of the bus. But okay, so do me a favor, by the way, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboycetv.com. I'm here with Tiara, KJ Williams, and Tiara's business, by the way, it's realvirtual.net. And so if you have a business and you want support on building that business, realvirtual.net will get you that support. If you're looking for somebody that can help you on the administrative side, they got you. On content creation, they got you. On strategy, they got you. Did I miss anything?
You know, if you want to write a book, you want to write a script, you have dreams of doing any of the creative things, we got you.
Okay, Real Virtual, REEL virtual.net, REEL virtual.net, not .com, .net. So go to realvirtual.net, tell them Dr. Boyce sent you, and they'll take good care of you. So let me play another clip from Katt Williams, Tiara. I just got a bunch of this little clip. This was such an epic interview because it was such a broad ranging conversation. He was just throwing darts at everybody's head and it, dropping crazy all kinds of names. Like it was almost like he just went in and said, I'm just gonna go in with a sledgehammer and just take out everybody, that you know about. And I thought it was interesting to watch. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't believe every single thing that was said because I know how men get when we get competitive, talk crazy about each other. I don't really always like it because I kind of like it when black men work together. But what I do like is I like when you're getting to the heart of things, right? Because I do think that this industry is really kind of abusing all of us. I think all of us as black people we end up looking crazy and looking bad. And I think maybe there's better ways to handle it, but what the hell? He did the interview, so let's just talk about it. All right, so I'm gonna play another clip, and I don't even know what's in this clip, but let's see what Katt had to say now.
You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Kat, I need another one. You here? Get your number.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Come on.
Because early on you was accusing me of being.
Kat, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, but some of these people.
Martin tried to put me in my first dress. When he had to go on his hiatus, he tell me, Kat, when I come back, I need you. You my young partner. You my brother in comedy. When I come back, just promise me that my next movie, it'll be me and you. We gonna do it together. We gonna do some buddy cop shit. I said, Martin, you got my motherfucking word, my nigga. Go do what you got to do. When you come back, I'm in your movie. Don't trip. I don't need to see the script or nothing. We get in that office and this fool pull out Big Mama's House 2. I almost died. And I got to read this script in front of all these good white people. Where this nigga want me to get in a dress with him. And I'm literally saying to everybody, why is he in a dress again?
Woo! There it goes. There's that theme of the black men wearing dresses. I don't think it's a coincidence, Tiara. I think I really think it's gotten to the point. I don't know. Y'all give me a yes or no in the chat if you agree with this. I think it's gotten to the point. Do y'all just get sick when you see a black man wearing a dress? How many of y'all just like see it and you're just like, oh God, not again? Like I know I do. I don't like it. I do not like it. It does, and I feel kind of mixed about it because there are black men who really want to wear dresses. There are, people that trans, gay, all that stuff. It's real, and I don't hate any of that. But I'm just getting tired of it. It's because it connects too much to slavery. Like every Wednesday night, we read Dr. Claude Anderson books, and I can point to parts of Powernomics where you can go back 300 years and you find that that's what they did to male slaves. They did that to make sure that they reminded you who's the alpha, who's the beta, who's in control, who's not. And this is just a continuation of all of that. What do you think the future of that is? I mean, will black men still be wearing dresses in Hollywood in 50 years? Or do you think we're going to buck up and actually create something of our own?
I think we're going to create something of our own. I think there's a purging happening here in Hollywood. I think, conversations like this that we're having, Katt coming out and saying what he's, all the things that he's saying. It just feels like there is I think we talked about this before, but there's something breaking around here. So hopefully it's a completely different industry. I feel like it has to be dismantled for us to be able to rebuild it though, So I'm glad that hopefully we've built something of our own.
Okay. All right. So let's look at another Katt Williams clip. He's just so entertaining. By the way, could y'all please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is Tiara KJ Williams. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. And I don't know if I've told you all about my book, Black American Money, but if you want to get a copy of this book, I wrote this book when I was on the faculty of Syracuse. If you want to understand, economics and how economic power works in America. That's what this book is focused on. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. You can use the code word book club and get 30% off. So feel free to go take a look at that. So here we are with Katt Williams. Here we go.
But then you're just hitting them with jokes after that because you don't have to set it up.
Right.
Mark Curry had already helped me work on this joke because I thought it was good because I was getting a standing ovation on it. He had me go back in the lab and help me craft it to be an even more powerful joke. So this is not just a random joke. This is my very best joke, and it's my last joke, and it's my closing joke.
Okay.
1998... I'm doing this joke. It's on Comic View. Cedric comes to the Comedy Store. He watches me in the audience. He comes backstage. He tells me what a great job I did and how much he loves the joke. 2 years later, he's doing that as his last joke on the Kings of Comedy. And he's doing it verbatim. He's just changed my car into a spaceship. Him and Steve had already apologized for me, so I gave him a pass for a decade. Why would you sit here and be like, I saw Katt 30 times, and Katt didn't do, as I stand before you, Shannon. I would have bust Cedric's stomach.
All right, so we busting stomachs now. Okay, so I think a lot of us for the first time in this interview were introduced to this sacrilegious act of stealing a joke. How big of a deal is that? And because I know you've done some comedy and stuff like that. It's one joke, right? Cedric the Entertainer came back and said, my whole career is not built on one joke, right? What do you think? I mean, do you think that Katt was overreacting, or you think that he has a right to be offended? Do you think it's a misunderstanding? What do you think?
No, I think people steal jokes all the time.
Okay.
Right. I have a really good friend of mine who I think when comics are younger and they're fresh and they're nobodies, and maybe, you do your routine at the Comedy Store and maybe there's some high-level comedians there who are already working, they will steal your joke and make it their own. So I have a friend who got into a whole tussle with Tony Rock because Tony Rock stole his joke, and he said it out on the internet and embarrassed Tony and all of that. And I think he ended up apologizing, but yeah, it happens. I think that people are inspired, right? And I guess if you can spin a joke and turn it into your own, people do it all the time. I don't think it's right. I think, it's like you should have your own creativity. You should come up with your own stuff. But, if you don't think somebody is going to make it or people are going to see it, then, you take creative license and make it your own. Because I saw the joke. I saw them side by side, and it looked really familiar. It looked like the joke.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I saw it too, and okay, guilty, right?
Resemblance.
Right. So let's say guilty is charged. Cedric the Entertainer stole a joke from Katt Williams. What does that say about Cedric, if anything? Does that undermine his career? Does that make him less valid?
No.
I don't think that it does either. I think that it's okay. He's still Cedric the Entertainer. I think I feel like his legacy was established long before all this took place. Yeah. And I will say I'm not really sure. I'll admit I'm gonna use a Steve Harvey quote on this one, actually, because every now and then he says something that's wise. It's funny though. I know Ed Gordon really well. Ed Gordon knows Steve really well, and I know for a fact Steve Harvey does not think highly of me because of things that I've said about him. So I wouldn't call myself a Steve Harvey fan, but I try to be balanced, right? I'll give credit where it's due. So one Steve Harvey quote that I liked was, he said that you'll never have a hater that's doing better than you, right? And I agree. I thought about it. I did an inventory in my head. I said, I thought about all my haters and the people who weren't my haters. I said, man, none of my haters are really doing better. So I get it now. Like, right. Like you throw the salt, you attack, and we tend to attack up because somebody's got something that we feel like we deserve. And I'm not saying that Katt wants to be the most mainstream guy out here, but it seems to me like Katt is a guy who says, yeah, I'll take all that. I'll take the fame. I'll take the fortune. I'll take the mainstream success, but it has to be on my terms. I got to do it my way. And you got what I should have had. All those scripts that they offered Kevin Hart were on my desk. He said that, right? So he said Kevin Hart got the script, but he compromised in a way that I would never compromise, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like a woman saying, "Yeah, you got my man because you're a slut and you're doing things for that man that I refuse to do," right? But then that's how she got your man, right?
Right.
And so sometimes that pride has a price. Freedom has a price. I pay it all the time. I see it all the time. I see people all the time who are not as smart as me when it comes to finance and economics, who got there because they played a game I'm not willing to pay.
Yeah.
And I have to live with that.
Yeah.
If I don't like it, then I need to just stop playing. I need to change my style, right? But really, like did I ever tell you that I got an opportunity to be on the Oprah Winfrey Network? Did I ever tell you that?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, this was like 12 years ago. We were literally in legit negotiations where they were literally like, okay, when can you fly out and everything? And I think that it stalled when we got to the point where they said, in order for you to be on the Oprah Network, Oprah doesn't want you doing anything except being on the Oprah Network. And I said, no, I have this little network I'm building, and that's important to me. I'm not giving up everything I got to go be a part of what you got. God bless you, and I'm glad I did that, right? But here we are, 500 million views later. I'm very proud of what we've built, right?
Yeah.
But so freedom has a price. So I think Katt is paying the price of freedom. I hope it's a good investment for him. But it seems to me that he does have some resentment, some bitterness, if you will, toward those who he claims kind of cheated. He used other analogies like he explained it to Shannon, like talking about an athlete who used steroids, and bringing your steroid body and comparing your steroid body to my natural body, and that's just life,
Yeah.
like I don't know. I'll tell you, even in the field that I'm in finance, I saw, when Earn Your Leisure came along and was doing a lot of the same stuff I had been doing since 2006. They had the backing of Diddy and Tyler Perry and Steve Harvey. So I said, okay, this is a corporate thing. Like, they're getting a lot of corporate support. And I could have been bitter about it. I could have been like, man, only reason y'all can do more is because y'all got more money, man. That ain't right, man. Like, I could have done that, but I didn't. You know what I said? I said, well, okay, that's a trade-off. They made a trade-off. I wouldn't, like, I'm not gonna go partner with Diddy like that. And you see why, right? Right? Because I think now that comes with its ups and downs, but I realized that my best strategy was not to sit back and be a hater. My strategy is I might as well support, and really, because at the end of the day, at least in this space, the goal is to introduce Black people to financial literacy, and they've done it at an extremely epic level, a powerful level.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to be mad at them unless I'm that fucking selfish. Unless I'm just like, no, I got to be the man. No. I played my position. They played their position. We're all achieving the same goal. And that's probably the best way forward. And I feel like with Katt, I wish there was a way he could just simply say, yeah, these guys are different from me. But while I might critique certain things, I'm going to also acknowledge their talent because I don't really, I'm sorry, even though I love everything Katt was doing, I have a big problem when somebody comes in and actually their shit don't stink, but everybody else's shit stinks. You shitty, you shitty, and you super shitty. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's shitty, but you, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe that. No. You got your flaws just like everybody else does. And you see a young guy like a Kevin Hart who's doing it his way and he's doing his best. I think Kevin's heart, his pun intended, Kevin Hart's heart is in the right place. I really feel like Kevin is like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go a little farther. I'm going to have a little more access, but I'm still playing for the team. I'm just going undercover to get a little bit closer to the honeypot so I can share this with more of our people. I think Kevin is trying to do that. And I don't know. I don't see the benefit of just hating Kevin Hart, like, because of this interview. Like, I hope that that's not what people are doing. And I think they responded properly. Like, I think Kevin came back and said there's a lot of anger here. I think Ricky Smiley came and gave his point of view. I don't know if I would have done that because you're not gonna, if people don't believe you, they're just not gonna believe you. Ain't no point in trying to disprove, something that you don't think is true. I forgot. I think Cedric responded, and all that. But I personally kind of feel like these guys should be able to stand on their accomplishments and say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm not Katt Williams. I don't operate the way he does. He's done great. I've done great. We're all doing great. That's what it is. And I feel like Katt ends up looking like the one who's the most bitter. So I think that pulling the veil back on Hollywood, though, is good. But I think that maybe the focal point, in my view, should have been more so on what the industry does to separate Black men, what the industry does to enslave us, what the industry does to make us look like buffoons. That to me would be more interesting than let me tell you about this nigga over here. Like I don't want to that comes out, that feels like crabs in a barrel to me, because to some extent, honestly, I look at it, all y'all victims. To me it's a clown fight. It's all of y'all fighting over who got the most pieces of the white man's pie. And I'm like, no, I think all of you should be leading. You all should be kings of comedy because all of you are brilliant. And I think a lot of fans see it that way too. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that there was a point in the interview when Katt said that he turned down $50 million 4 times. If you turn down $50 million 4 times because because your integrity is just so intact, you might feel some kind of way. You might feel some kind of way that looking over, there's people that actually took it, and you feel like you shouldn't have took that because, there's no way to really justify the reason. But I guess maybe that's where the bitterness comes in, right? Like he's not, like you said, he's not seeing that kind of money, or who knows, but it's obvious he had some bones to pick and he took some things personally and he's been holding on to it. And it's unfortunate. If nothing else, outside of just him having bones to pick, I feel like he wanted to just be entertaining. He wanted to just have us doing exactly what we're doing, having conversation about him. And he literally shut down the internet. I don't think I've ever seen, not since like Jussie Smollett lied, right? I have not seen every single status be about one person. I haven't seen it, right? Like unless somebody dies. But Katt, that should tell him how powerful he is. He's amazing. He has the power to tell us stories, whether they're true or they're not. And we can be caught up in, his storytelling and his awesome talent, like you said. So maybe that's what we should take the interview as, just like for face value, for fun, instead of like it wedging us against other people, because, there's nothing productive about that.
Yeah, I agree too. So as you guys hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe, I want you all to know Tiara's business is realvirtual.net, REEL. And so if you are starting a business or you're getting your business off the ground, or you have a business and you want support either from an administrative standpoint or content creation or strategy or anything, do a consultation at realvirtual.net, REEL virtual.net. And they can help you out. And also, you can get copies of my books like The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power by going to drboycebooks.com. And I also have some other books, financial lovemaking, stuff like that. So let me play one more. I'm going to play one more Katt Williams clip, and then we're going to call it a night. So, and then I want to get your take on this. So hit the thumbs up button, everybody. Here we go. Let's see. I hope this isn't the same one I played earlier. Let me see.
But then you're just hitting them with jokes after that, because you don't have to set it up.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I already played it. Okay, so here's
Smokey was all in Smokey. There ain't no Friday without Smokey.
We all agree to that, and there's no next Friday without Friday, and there's no Friday after next without
Friday. We talk about the road because you said that they don't.
Here's the thing. Okay. Here's the thing. Chris was allowed to make the decision. At the time that this is happening, Katt Williams is known for smoking weed. Willie Nelson is known for smoking weed. Right. Snoop's known for smoking weed, but none of us is really known except Willie. And I'm saying, Chris Tucker didn't want to be the poster child for smoking weed. He don't smoke weed like that. Right. He in the church. Michael Jackson's best friend. Christmas. Michael Jackson called him Christmas. You ever met a man that gave you a little nickname like that?
No.
Me neither. Must be the greatest.
Man, I ain't gonna be able to get nobody back. I ain't gonna be able to get no more comedians.
They all coming.
No, they ain't.
Oh, I didn't know that Michael Jackson called him Christmas. Did you know that?
Apparently, I found that out watching the interview.
I mean, wow, that's okay. That's interesting. Interesting. You know, and it's interesting to hear the backstories. You know, some of these some of our favorite movies. Yeah, I don't even have anything to say about that clip. Actually, it was just entertaining to watch. Do you have anything to say about that? Because if you don't, I'll just play another one.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Okay. All right. So here's another. Here we go.
What is your relationship with Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, and Cedric the Entertainer as you sit here currently?
For 30 years, they're a group. These aren't three random guys. The way that Ricky Smiley kept appearing at all of my auditions is because of Steven said he would tell anybody that, listen, they got a gang on that side. They know what it is. They know who the gang is. Why Earthquake not in movies? 'Cause he's illiterate. He can't read. And they found that out when they gave him a show and put the cards in front of him. Like, all of these dudes are co-entwined and they share secrets. And this is the age of truth. And the truth doesn't need to be scared of the fact that people tell lies. Cats on drugs. Where are the stories? Why is there no story of anybody who ever sold a drug to me, did a drug with me, was around me when I was inebriated? I got 5 daughters. I got 5 sons. Why would we tell these ridiculous stories? Because it's competition. You feel like, well, why comedy guys can't just get along?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So there was a lot said there. I think the biggest thing that jumped out at me, Tiara, was the part about drugs. Was anybody else in the let me know in the chat? Was anybody else surprised when he said that he doesn't even touch drugs? Were you surprised by that, Tiara?
Yeah. I've heard him say that before though. And then I think that almost made me feel like maybe somebody spreading those narratives has him a little bitter too. Like all of it is like a compilation of, what's causing all this anger. But yeah. I didn't know he didn't do drugs. I thought he was arrested for drugs a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Like if that's the case, and I guess we have no reason not to believe him, but that's okay. So somebody said he meant hard drugs. Okay. I guess he have
what I see. That's what he said.
Of hard, right?
He said he only smoked weed.
Yeah. Well, what I guess is what kind of weed? Because they putting all kinds of shit in the weed now. I mean, you can't. It ain't like the 70s or the 80s, right? The weed now is made in a lab and they put chemicals in it and all that. I wouldn't touch that stuff. Mm-hmm. But now I do have my CBD oil, by the way, so I am a fan of cannabis in that context. But yeah, but that was interesting, and it does, if that's the case, that someone is spreading that false narrative. Obviously, that's an issue. Yeah. And then now, what's the benefit of us knowing the Earthquake is illiterate? Like, why would that? To me, why would that just not be like hating? Like why would we make fun of a brother? Right? Why are we making fun of a brother who can't read? Like, why do I got to know that? How does the Black community benefit from Katt Williams telling us that Earthquake cannot read?
Oh my God. It doesn't. It really makes us, he's just, shots are fired. Like this was it. He was just shooting, walked in and started shooting at everybody.
That came off a little mean-spirited, to be honest with you. I kind of feel like it was a bit unnecessary. All right, so anyway, well, I'll say this. I think that this is kind of just beginning. I think that this is something that's going to continue. I think people are going to keep firing the shots back. I do think what's interesting is I want to end the conversation on just that term industry plant. When he is accusing Kevin Hart of being an industry plant. I think that everything he says about Kevin Hart, I suspect, is probably also true about Nick Cannon, because Nick Cannon was a guy who just rose right to the top of the ladder. I personally believe instinctually that the abundance of opportunities that Nick Cannon has received is probably due to some sort of connection that his family has. I don't know what it is, but I've just as I've watched him move, I think that that's the case. I talked to Nick's father one time for an hour, and I really liked him. He's a very smart man. He's very pro-black, and so I have nothing against their family at all. But here's the thing, you know, when I think about the fact that Nick could be someone that's sort of planted in by the industry to some extent, I don't think that necessarily means Nick is a sellout or a bad person. I
Yeah.
think that just means maybe he's connected and wired into the Hollywood infrastructure. If that definition is used, then there are a lot of people that are quote unquote industry plants.
Yeah.
Lee Daniels, had a husband who was Jewish, and he had his kids reading Anne Frank instead of Roots. He talked about that. He said, "My kids have read Anne Frank 3 times, but they never read Roots even once." He bragged about that, right? Whoopi Goldberg converted to Judaism, and I think that played a part in her opportunities. What's another one? That lady who does Abbott Elementary. Whatever. 9 times out of 10, when you see a black actress or a black actor rise to the ranks or get an opportunity at a high level, go look at their spouse.
Mhm.
Go look at their spouse. Look at that black lady who's married to the guy that runs Netflix. Look at the lady from Abbott Elementary. Look at her spouse, and then find out also not just what the skin color of that spouse is, but are they in the Jewish community?
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, that's going to get you an opportunity. And is that bad? It's not to me. It doesn't. It adds up. It's like to you. To me, it's like you're telling me 2 + 2 is 4. I know you're wired in. But is it sinister? I don't think Alice Walker's spouse, the same thing. That's how she got $100 million to go make a movie where black men ain't shit, right? And that was why I gave that critique of The Color Purple. It wasn't to bash the movie. I thought the movie was very good. I thought that the acting was excellent. The choreography was extraordinary. The music was amazing. It was very entertaining. But I watched the whole movie. I said, this shit ain't for me. This is black lesbians and black feminists getting together with white men to use their economic power to create a narrative that tells their story at our expense. And we're the ones who look like shit because we're the ones who aren't showing up to the table with enough economic power to derail that project. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I will just tell you, anybody who wants to just automatically and unconditionally root for The Color Purple, I want you to ask yourself a basic question. How would you feel if all the disgruntled black men got together, all the Passport brothers and the Kevin Samuels fans all got together and went over to a group of wealthy white women, and the wealthy white women wrote them $100 million check to make a movie that was basically waiting to exhale for black men? And literally all throughout this movie, all you saw, pay attention now, all you saw were narratives of black men being shit on by black women the entire time, being abused, being cussed out, neck swinging, you motherfucker, y'all niggas ain't shit. Like, seriously, like, really, what if they did that? And the white women were sitting there saying, oh my God, that's so good, that's so realistic. I'm so glad you're telling your story, Tyrone. Right? And that would be so unfair. It would be terrible. Right? You wouldn't root for that shit. You'd say, no, that's not true, because that's not a reflection of who black women are. It's not like it's a total lie, though, because we know that there are women out there that are neck swinging hooligans, that are an embarrassment to their family. But if you look at the best that black women have to offer, that's not what you see.
That's right.
So that's the issue. So with Color Purple, I didn't hate it, but these alliances, I want everybody to just be sensitive to that. Historically, for thousands of years, things like marriage was designed as it's various forms of alliances of economics and power and economic power. So when a black woman marries a rich Jewish man, like the black lady that married Spielberg, she didn't marry him because he's sexy, right? He ain't got nothing. No, he ain't Idris Elba. He's a fat, raggedy ass old man, who's probably 2 inches from the grave. But she married him because she wanted access to that economic power. And the only thing I end up asking when black women do that is, which team are you really playing for when you're doing that, right? Like, because I think I can imagine a scenario where a woman says, you know what, I want to marry this man over here. I'm going to marry Mr. Heisenberg or whatever, and I want to get this wealth, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna hook up some brothers. I'm gonna hook up some brothers in the back. You know what I mean? Like, there are black women out there like that are really loyal to the community, but they just happen to find a rich white guy that they really want to be with. But then there are women who truly have sold out. There are women who just totally have disconnected, detached. You know, my daddy wasn't nothing. The black community ain't got no money. These niggas is broke. So let me go become a Finkelstein or whatever, right? Your name is Shaquanda Finkelstein now. And now you're over here and you're like, look at me. I'm now a vice president at ABC. And you know why that happened. It happened because your husband was able to get you into spaces that my black ass, the field Negro Boyce Watkins cannot get you into, right? And I think it's a mindset. Like, I really believe, like, what I love, you know what I respect about my wife and women like my wife, because there's a lot of them out there like that. What I respect about my wife is that I know just her marrying me instantly makes her into the bad Negro. It instantly makes her a threat to the white supremacist establishment. When she married me and all her colleagues at work started Googling me, she went from being the safe little light-skinned black lady to being like, oh shit, you married this guy? You know, and that changed how they dealt with her at her job. Right. So I just have so much respect for to me, the realest black people in the black community are the ones who say, yeah, I know that marrying a black man ain't gonna get me the same as I would probably get if I became a Rothenberger or whatever, right?
These last names.
Right? But this is where I come from. These are my people. This is my plight. This is where I'm at. This is the team I play for, right? But it's hard though. It's really, really hard because y'all know some black people crazy. You know, it really is like, you know, dating in the black community can be like living in the ghetto. You know, it's wonderful and it's warm and it's familiar, but you also might get shot. So
several times.
Right. You might be like 50 Cent. I got shot 9 times.
I still love Tyrone though.
Yeah, it's hard, and it ain't just the women that have to go through that. I mean, the men do too. I know a lot of men, they got bullet wounds and bullet holes in their soul from women that, you know, from hurt women that hurt them. You know, like this is something everybody goes through, you know. So anyway, that's my belief. And so I want to say thank you to those of y'all who believe in me despite the fact that I ain't perfect. And thank you for believing in yourselves and the community. And I think that we're all we got. And I'll say this, I think that if Katt Williams and all the comedians really want to have real power, stop arguing over who got which white man to give you a Netflix special and start making some real power moves. You know, go stop being the clown and start being the king. You know, seriously, stop trying to just you know, prove how great you are by talking about how many times white people put you on TV. Show me some real empire building. Like do what they do. Like, you know, we should be controlling our spaces, and I think we have the ability to do that. We just have to have the confidence. So I'm gonna say thank you, Tiara, KJ Williams. I appreciate your time. It was great to see you. And also, let me give you Tiara's website, y'all. I hope y'all will go support this Black-owned business. This is a smart Black woman, and she's really good at what she does. And her company is at realvirtual.net, and they can help you with your business. If you want administrative help where you can delegate tasks so that you don't have to do everything to build your business. If you're looking for ideas on how to scale the business. If you're looking for someone that can help you create the content, they can do that. If you're looking for strategy, whatever it is, they can help you get set up. So you do a free consultation. The consultation's free. Is that how you said? Okay, yeah, you can go to Real Virtual, REEL virtual.net and see what they can do for you. And also, you can find my books at drboycebooks.com. If you go to drboycebooks.com, use the code word book club and get 30% off anything in the store. And you can find my new book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. And also, we're doing financial reflections every morning out of my journal, 30 Days to Wealth and Power. So if you want to join us every morning, go to drboyceelevate.com. That's drboyceelevate.com. All right, so have a good day, everybody. Hit that thumbs up button. We will see you soon. Thank you so much. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.